very good evening and welcome to BCN News. Our top story tonight, the people have spoken. The 20 members of parliament elect have been voted in, and now it's politicking time on the island as the 20 MPs elect mobilize support, battling it out on who will be elected as the new premier. Members of Parliament elect are now engaging in horse trading ahead of the first sitting of the Legislative Assembly next week. BCN News has been reliably informed that the MPs elect have been holding a series of meetings this week with discussions on who should be elected as the Premier of Niue and who will be elected as the Speaker of Niue's Parliament. There's some division in views as to whether the members of the Assembly should elect the new Premier based on who gained the greatest number of votes from the public, or based on seniority, one who has been in the game for long and has a strong support base in the Legislative Assembly. Newcomer Richard Hipper, who topped the polls as a common role candidate, is traditionally seen as the MP-elect who has gained the mandate of the people and has publicly stated that he will put forth his name for the premiership. In 2017, Olive Jacobson topped the polls and contested the premiership. However, Sir Toke Talangi, a common role candidate, was elected as the premier. It was the same case in 2014 with Stanley Kalauni topping the polls and contested the premiership, however lost to Sir Toke Talangi. However, MPs elect for the respective 14 villages can also contest the leadership role of government. Former Premier Young Vivian was elected from the village constituency of Hakupu. Former Premier Frank Louis was also elected Premier from the village of Alofi North. The largest village constituency in Niue is Alofi South, where Dalton Tangilangi has been elected as the MP-elect, placing him as another serious contender from the village constituencies for the position of Premier. At this point in time, it's unpredictable. We will just have to await the election result by the members as the Assembly sits for the first time next Wednesday. With Niue now downgrading to code blue from yellow, measures are in place to ensure that Niue remains COVID-19 free. The caretaker cabinet met before the election and approved the downgrading along with measures in place. Code Blue measures focus on delaying entry of the disease through hand washing, cough etiquette, social distancing, minimal disruption to society such as travel advisories and restrictions, and reducing businesses. Passengers traveling to Niue may now include all Niueans who reside in New Zealand, essential workers including diplomats, skilled workers, and special cases such as immediate family members of residents and those who require urgent travel to Niue or emergency cases. The limit of 26 passengers per fortnightly flight remains in place until August. For the next two flights, being the 1st and 15th June 2020, all passengers arriving to Niue will continue to be placed in mandatory quarantine for 14 days. From 29th June, passengers arriving to Niue will continue to be placed in mandatory quarantine unless they can demonstrate that they qualify for managed self-isolation. Managed self-isolation means a passenger may reside at the residence or other suitable accommodation under strict criteria determined by the Niue Health Department. A passenger must apply no less than 1 week before the intended date of travel to Niue. All applications are to be submitted to the Office of the Secretary of Government. All applications will be reviewed to ascertain the applicant's request to determine if a person has qualified for managed self-isolation. The applicant may be notified if they qualify for managed self-isolation prior to travel to Niue. Niue will begin testing going live with the Manatoa cable towards the end of this month. This has been confirmed by Telecom Niue CEO Brad Collier. Brad Collier says they're currently awaiting final testing to be completed by other Pacific Island countries on 10th June, and then the date for launching will be known. Collier says the cable is on target with original expectations, with COVID-19 having minimal effect on delivery timetable. This is mainly due to Niue team completing their portion of the build ahead of schedule. Brad Collier adds the costing for consumers' internet services is still yet to be finalized. Packages will not be changing initially, adding that the new programs that are being considered are reduced streaming costs and social media packages. And finally, if you're planning to apply for any positions in the public service, it will cost you $50. This is because of the requirement for each applicant to provide a police report and a health certificate, both of which cost $25 each. The director of the Secretariat of the Public Service Commission confirmed to BCN News this afternoon that this is now a requirement for all applications for a vacancy in the public service. The last vacancy circular from the Public Service Commissioner is calling for applications for the positions of Director General of the three government ministries of Infrastructure, Natural Resources and Social Services. Since 2014, Gayleen Tasmania has been the Director General for the Ministry of Social Services, Dr. Josie Tamate as the Director General of the Ministry of Natural Resources, and Andre Siohane as Director General of the Ministry of Infrastructure, all of whom have held their positions for 2 consecutive terms. The appointments of Director Generals were part of the transformation process of the public service. Other senior government official positions being advertised include the Director of Education, Director of Transport, and General Manager of Bulk Fuel. And that's BCN News for tonight. Thank you for joining us. Do join us same time on Monday. Until then, you have a safe weekend.